1 year later, the galaxy was a different place. Captain Yu Sang-wook guided his patrol ship through the Outer Rim territories, watching his sensors detect the clean signatures of peaceful trade vessels. Pirates and raiders had become extinct in human-patrolled space, their ships either destroyed or surrendered to avoid humanity's wrath. "Captain," called his communications officer, "we're receiving a distress signal from the Kalani freighter Sweet Current. They report engine problems. Set course to assist," Yu ordered, and signal the nearest repair station to prepare for a customer. 6 months ago, such an order would have seemed impossible. The Kalani had been humanity's enemies, conspirators in Ambassador Taemin's murder. Now they were valued trading partners, their ships carrying human technology to distant worlds under the protection of human weapons. The transformation had been remarkable to witness. When faced with humanity's military superiority, the galaxy had adapted quickly. Trade flowed more freely than ever before. Scientific cooperation between species reached levels never seen in galactic history. Peace had come to the stars, enforced by the quiet threat of human retaliation. On the galactic capital, Dr. Hong So-young finished reviewing the latest trade reports. Human exports had increased by 800% in the past year. Every species wanted human technology, especially military hardware. The weapons that had once seemed primitive to alien eyes were now the most sought-after items in the galaxy. "The Mexati Republic is requesting 50 more defense platforms," reported her assistant. "They're worried about border security." "Approved," Hong replied. "But include the standard monitoring systems. We want to know if anyone tries to reverse engineer our technology." The monitoring systems were another example of human thoroughness. Every piece of military equipment sold to alien species included hidden sensors that reported back to Earth. Humanity shared their technology freely, but they kept watch on how it was used. President Shin Ye-jin arrived at the capital for the annual Galactic Peace Conference. The event had been her idea, a gathering of all species to discuss cooperation and mutual defense. It had replaced the old Hegemony Council meetings, which had focused on maintaining the power of elder races. Madam President greeted Ambassador Nam Yoon-ji. "The delegations are ready for your address." Shin nodded and walked toward the main assembly hall. The building had been redesigned since humanity's arrival. The old chamber, with its tiered seating that emphasized hierarchy, had been replaced with a circular arrangement where all species sat as equals. Well, mostly equals. The human delegation sat at a position where everyone could see them, a subtle reminder of who enforced the peace. "Fellow beings of the galaxy," President Shin began her speech. 1 year ago, we gathered in crisis. Trust had been broken. Violence threatened to tear apart the civilization we had built together. Today we meet in an era of unprecedented peace and prosperity. The assembled aliens listened respectfully. Many of them remembered the fear and chaos that had followed humanity's military demonstration. The smart ones had learned to appreciate the stability that human strength provided. "The Galactic Peacekeeping Force has eliminated piracy from 17 star systems," Shin continued. "Trade routes that were dangerous for centuries are now safe for the smallest civilian vessels. Scientific cooperation has produced advances that benefit all our species." She paused, looking around the chamber at representatives from over 100 worlds. "This peace exists because we learned a difficult lesson. Diplomacy without strength is merely a request. Peace without the power to enforce it is just a temporary pause between conflicts." In the audience, former High Counselor Vectar shifted uncomfortably. The Kalani leader had spent 6 months in a human prison before being released as part of the peace agreement. The experience had changed him. The proud, scheming politician had become a quiet advocate for cooperation with humanity. "Today, I announce the completion of our peacekeeping network," President Shin said. "Human patrol fleets now monitor every major trade route and strategic system in the galaxy. No world will face aggression alone. No species will suffer the fate that befell our ambassador." The applause was genuine. Many species had benefited from human protection. The weak and peaceful races, who had been preyed upon by stronger neighbors for millennia, finally felt safe. The strong and aggressive races had learned to find other outlets for their ambitions. After the conference, President Shin met privately with General Ko Minho to review the peacekeeping operations. The human general commanded forces from dozens of species, all united under human leadership and doctrine. Status report, General? Excellent, Madam President. We've had no major incidents in 4 months. The last pirate fleet surrendered rather than face our response. 3 species have requested to join our alliance structure. Any concerns? Ko considered carefully. Some of the elder races are beginning to rebuild their military capabilities. Nothing threatening yet, but we should monitor the situation. Let them build, Shin replied. As long as they follow galactic law, we have no objection to reasonable defense forces. Just make sure they understand the consequences of aggressive action. Meanwhile, on Harmony Point Station, now renamed Taemin Station in honor of the murdered ambassador, a small ceremony was taking place. Ambassador Nam Yoonji stood before a memorial plaque that marked the spot where her predecessor had died. He believed in peace, she said to the small gathering of diplomats and station personnel. He thought we could find a better way to exist among the stars. The memorial was simple but powerful. It showed Ambassador Taemin's image alongside the inscription, "He came in peace." They answered with violence. We taught them the difference. Taemin would be proud of what we've accomplished, Nam continued. The galaxy is safer now. Children of every species can grow up without fear of war or piracy. Trade and science flourish under the protection of human strength. She placed a small earth flower at the base of the memorial. But he would also remind us that peace requires constant vigilance. The moment we become complacent, the moment we forget why we're here, the old conflicts will return. Dr. Lee Jae-sung, who had been observing alien psychology throughout the transformation, published his final report on the galactic response to human intervention. His conclusions were both encouraging and sobering. Alien species have adapted to human dominance more quickly than expected, he wrote. The combination of overwhelming military superiority and fair treatment has created a stable system. However, long-term success depends on maintaining both strength and justice. His report noted that several species had begun developing new technologies in response to human capabilities. Nothing threatening yet, but innovation driven by the desire to match human achievements. Competition, he concluded, was healthy, as long as it remained peaceful. Captain Park Kyung-min read the report while leading a joint training exercise between human Marines and alien security forces. The aliens were eager students learning human tactics and discipline. Some of them would never match human capabilities, but they could become effective partners. The key, he told his mixed unit of humans and aliens, is not to fight like humans. It's to fight alongside humans. Use your strengths to support ours, and together we're stronger than either could be alone. The exercise simulated a terrorist attack on a civilian station. Human speed and firepower combined with alien knowledge of local conditions to neutralize the threat, quickly and efficiently. It was exactly the kind of cooperation that made the peacekeeping system work. As the second year of the new galactic order began, humanity faced new challenges. Success had brought responsibility. Other species looked to Earth for leadership in everything from trade disputes to scientific research. The galaxy that had once dismissed humans as primitive newcomers now depended on them for stability and progress. But humanity had learned from their history. They had seen what happened when peaceful intentions were mistaken for weakness. They maintained their military superiority while using it to protect rather than conquer. They shared their technology while keeping watch for abuse. They enforced peace while respecting the rights of other species. Ambassador Taemin's death had taught the galaxy a crucial lesson. Humanity preferred peace, but they were very, very good at war. That knowledge, shared by every alien government and military leader, kept the peace more effectively than any treaty or agreement. The memorial on Taemin Station received visitors from across the galaxy. Alien children learned about the human diplomat who had died, trying to bring peace to the stars. Their parents made sure they understood what happened to those who chose violence over cooperation. In the end, Ambassador Lee Taemin had achieved his dream of galactic peace. Not through negotiation and compromise as he had hoped, but through the demonstration of human strength that his death had unleashed. He had wanted to show the galaxy humanity's peaceful nature. Instead, his murder had revealed their warrior heritage. The galaxy learned to appreciate both sides of human nature. They were a species that could choose peace when offered respect, but would choose war when faced with violence. That choice and the strength to enforce it had given the stars the peace that diplomacy alone could never achieve. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. Admiral Oh Sung-ho's main battle fleet dropped out of hyperspace above the galactic capital, and every being on every world stopped what they were doing to stare. The human dreadnoughts were massive, angular ships that looked nothing like the graceful vessels other species built. They were designed for one purpose: war. Their hulls bristled with weapons that the galaxy's scientists couldn't identify, their very presence in orbit above. The most important world in known space sent shockwaves through every alien government. Magnificent, whispered Dr. Lee Jae-sung as he watched from the flagship's observation deck. As Earth's expert on alien psychology, he had predicted this moment perfectly. Look at them scramble. Below them, alien ships fled the capital system in panic. Trade vessels, passenger ships, even military escorts, all abandoning the galactic center as fast as their engines could carry them. The proud species that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years were running from humanity, like children from thunder. Ambassador Nam Yoonji stood beside him, her scarred face showing no emotion. She had replaced Tae-min as Earth's diplomatic representative, but unlike her predecessor, she was a former military officer. Her left arm was artificial, lost in the war that had unified Earth decades ago. "Are you ready, Ambassador?" asked Admiral Oh. "I've been ready since they murdered my friend," Nam replied. "Let's show them what justice looks like." The Hegemony Council had demanded an emergency session, but this time it would be held on humanity's terms. Captain Park Kyung-min led a team of human Marines to escort Ambassador Nam to the council chambers. The aliens who saw them coming stepped aside quickly. The Marines were intimidating even without their weapons. They moved with the confidence of soldiers who had never lost a battle. Their black uniforms bore the insignia of Earth's Special Operations Command. Every alien in the building knew these were the humans who had destroyed 2 galactic powers in a single day. The council chamber was vast, with seating for representatives from over 100 species. Usually it buzzed with conversation and political maneuvering. Today it was silent as a tomb. Every alien representative stared at Ambassador Nam as she walked to the center of the room. "Members of the Hegemony Council," she began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. 72 hours ago, you had the opportunity to investigate the murder of Earth's ambassador. You chose instead to call it an accident and suggest we be more careful. She activated a holographic display that showed the evidence of the assassination plot, communications between Vorthak and Kalani officials, video recordings of the planning meetings, detailed analysis of the poison used to kill Tae-min. This was not an accident. This was a coordinated act of war against humanity. You murdered our representative because you feared what we might become. Today you learn what we already are. High Counselor Vector, his snake-like body trembling, tried to speak. "Ambassador, surely we can reach some agreement." "No," Nam said simply. "The time for agreements passed when you poisoned Lee Tae-min. Now we deal in facts. Fact 1, you committed an act of war. Fact 2, we responded appropriately. Fact 3, you have one chance to make this right." She gestured, and another display showed the destruction humanity had unleashed. Vorthak military bases reduced to rubble. Kalani fleets drifting helplessly in space. Alien strongholds that had stood for centuries erased in minutes. "Our demands are simple," Nam continued. "You will surrender everyone involved in the assassination plot. You will provide full compensation for the attack on our ambassador. You will publicly acknowledge your crimes. And you will accept humanity as a full member of this council with all rights and privileges." "And if we refuse?" asked Counselor Thane, though his voice shook as he spoke. Nam smiled, and every alien in the room felt a chill. "Then Admiral O's fleet will demonstrate what happens when you anger a species that conquered an entire planet through warfare." Through the chamber's windows, they could see the human warships hanging in space like dark angels of death. The message was clear. Humanity wasn't asking for justice. They were offering one last chance before taking it by force. Commander Zethus, who had personally murdered Ambassador Tae-min, stood on shaking legs. "This is madness. You're just one species. The entire galaxy will unite against you." "Really?" Nam asked. She activated her communication system and addressed the chamber with cold authority. "Attention all species representatives. Raise your hand if you wish to declare war on humanity." The chamber remained completely still. Not a single alien moved. They had all seen what happened to the Vorthak and Kalani. No one wanted to be next. Dr. Lee Jae-sung watched from the gallery, taking notes on alien behavior. His psychological profiles had been perfect. These were bureaucrats and politicians who had forgotten what real warfare looked like. Faced with a species that had spent its entire history perfecting the art of violence, they were completely helpless. "I thought so," Nam said. "The galaxy will not unite against us. They're too busy trying not to be our next target." Over the next several hours, the aliens crumbled. The Vorthak Empire, its fleet destroyed and homeworld defenseless, handed over everyone involved in the assassination plot. Commander Zethus and 12 other officers were arrested by human Marines and taken to face trial. The Kalani Syndicate offered massive reparations, entire systems worth of resources and technology. High Counselor Vector personally begged for mercy. His proud species reduced to groveling before the humans they had tried to eliminate. Other species, seeing which way the wind was blowing, quickly distanced themselves from the conspiracy. The Mexati Republic offered to host the trial. The peaceful Narathi volunteered to serve as neutral observers. Everyone wanted to be on humanity's good side, but the real shock came when Ambassador Nam announced humanity's final demand. From this day forward, human peacekeeping forces will patrol key systems throughout the galaxy. We will ensure that no species ever again suffers what happened to our ambassador. "You want to station military forces throughout our territory?" gasped Counselor Thane. "We want to ensure galactic peace," Nam corrected. "Unless you have a better solution." The aliens looked at each other helplessly. They had created the situation through their own arrogance and fear. Now they had to live with the consequences. President Shin Ye-jin arrived the next day to oversee the formal proceedings. As Earth's elected leader, she came to witness justice for their murdered ambassador. Her presence on the galactic capital sent another clear message. Humanity was not going away. "My fellow beings," she addressed the council, "humanity never wanted war. We sent you our best diplomat, offering friendship and cooperation. You murdered him because you feared us. Today, you learn the difference between fearing what we might become and fearing what we already are." The trial of Ambassador Taemin's assassins began immediately. Held aboard Admiral O's flagship, it showcased not just human military might, but their concepts of justice and rule of law. The proceedings were broadcast throughout the galaxy, showing every species what happened to those who committed crimes against humanity. Commander Zethus confessed to the murder within hours. Faced with overwhelming evidence and the prospect of facing human justice, he broke completely. His confession implicated dozens of other aliens in the plot, creating a web of conspiracy that reached into the highest levels of galactic government. "Why did you do it?" asked the human prosecutor. "We were afraid," Zethus whispered. "Your species advanced so quickly. In just decades you went from primitive savages to spacefaring civilization. We thought if we eliminated your diplomats, you would retreat back to your world and leave us alone. Instead, you taught us that diplomacy without strength is worthless." The prosecutor replied, "You forced us to show the galaxy what we're really capable of." As the trial continued, the new galactic order began to take shape. Human patrol fleets deployed throughout known space, their advanced sensors and weapons ensuring that pirates and raiders became extinct overnight. Trade routes that had been dangerous for centuries became safe under human protection. Several species requested defensive alliances with Earth. Others offered to share technology and resources in exchange for human protection. The galaxy was rapidly reorganizing itself around humanity's military superiority. General Ko Min-ho arrived to take command of the new galactic peacekeeping force. His joint task forces, combining human leadership with alien support, became the backbone of galactic security. For the first time in history, the galaxy had a unified military command. Dr. Hong So-young began negotiating new trade agreements that, while fair, heavily favored human interests. Alien species lined up to purchase human military technology, suddenly very interested in the weapons they had dismissed as primitive. The lesson resonated across the galaxy. Humanity had extended a hand in friendship. When that hand was slapped away, they showed why their species had clawed its way to the top of the food chain on a death world called Earth. Never again would the galaxy make the mistake of underestimating the quiet species from the third planet of an unremarkable star. Exactly 72 hours after the Galactic Council refused to investigate Ambassador Lee Taemin's death, Humanity showed the galaxy what real war looked like. Captain Jung Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of Seoul's Vengeance as his ship dropped out of stealth mode. Around him, 16 other human destroyers materialized from nothing, their advanced cloaking systems shutting down simultaneously. The Vorthak homeworld hung before them, beautiful in blue, completely undefended. "Sir, we're receiving panicked communications from the surface," reported his communications officer. "They're demanding to know who we are and what we want." "Tell them we're here to deliver a message," Jung replied calmly. "Target all military installations, government complexes, and weapons manufacturing facilities. I want surgical precision, no civilian casualties." The Vorthak had built their defenses to stop energy weapons and traditional missiles. Their shields flickered uselessly as human kinetic bombardment systems opened fire. Tungsten rods, accelerated to enormous speeds, pierced through their defenses like they didn't exist. The first rod struck the main Vorthak military headquarters. The building simply vanished in a cloud of debris. Across the planet, every military installation suffered the same fate. Weapons factories, naval bases, and government buildings were reduced to smoking craters within minutes. "My God," whispered the weapons officer. "I've never seen destruction this precise." Jung nodded grimly. "This is what happens when you underestimate humans. We don't fight for glory or conquest. We fight to win." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Lieutenant Kang Soo-jin led her fighter squadron against a Kalani trade convoy. The snake-like aliens had been transporting weapons to their allies when humanity struck. "Remember your training," she told her pilots over the radio. "Their energy shields won't stop our projectile weapons. Hit them fast and hard." The human fighters were smaller than alien ships but incredibly fast. They had been designed by people who understood that space combat was about speed and surprise, not size and intimidation. Kang's squadron tore through the Kalani formation like sharks among fish. The alien ships tried to return fire with their plasma cannons, but the human fighters moved too quickly. Their pilots had trained for years in Earth's asteroid fields, learning to fly at speeds that would kill most alien crews. "Target their engines," Kang ordered. "Disable them, don't destroy them. We want prisoners for questioning." One by one, the Kalani ships lost power and drifted helplessly in space. The aliens had never faced an enemy that could move so fast and strike so accurately. On Harmony Point Station, Colonel Ryu Dongmin led his Special Forces team through the corridors where Ambassador Taemin had died. The station's security forces had tried to resist, but they were no match for human soldiers. "Clear the command center," Ryu ordered. His soldiers moved like ghosts, using tactics learned in Earth's harshest environments. They had trained in deserts, jungles, mountains, and Arctic wastelands. Aliens who had lived their entire lives in climate-controlled environments couldn't match their endurance or skill. The station commander, a proud Vorthak officer named General Korvex, found himself staring down the barrel of a human weapon. "This is illegal," he sputtered. "You can't attack a neutral station." "You made it non-neutral when you murdered our ambassador here," Ryu replied coldly. "You're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder. The Hegemony Council will never accept this. You're just one primitive species." Ryu smiled without humor. "Look out the window, General." Korvex turned to see human warships surrounding the station. More ships than the aliens had believed humanity possessed. Sleek, deadly vessels that had appeared from nowhere and taken control of the situation in minutes. "How is this possible?" the general whispered. "We're very good at keeping secrets," Ryu answered. "And we're very good at war." The attacks continued across 17 star systems. Every major Vorthak and Kalani military installation was destroyed or captured. Their fleets, caught by surprise and unable to adapt to human tactics, were decimated. At the galactic capital, panic spread through the Hegemony Council chambers. Reports flooded in from across their territory. The humans, who they had dismissed as primitive newcomers, had just crippled two of the galaxy's major powers in a coordinated assault. "This is impossible," ranted High Counselor Vectar, his snake-like body coiled in fear. "Our intelligence said they had barely a dozen ships." "Our intelligence was wrong," admitted Counselor Thane of the Mexati Republic. "The humans have been hiding their true capabilities." Commander Zethus, who had personally poisoned Ambassador Taemin, stared at the tactical displays in horror. "They destroyed our entire home fleet in 12 minutes. 12 minutes! We had over 200 ships. How advanced are their weapons?" asked another counselor. "We don't know," Zethus replied shakily. "They're using technology we don't understand. Our shields can't stop their attacks. Our sensors can barely track their ships. The truth was even worse than they realized. Major Song Hai-Rim, Earth's top intelligence operative, had been gathering information in the galactic capital for months. She had identified every council member who had voted to approve the assassination plan. Phase 1 is complete, she reported to Earth via secure communication. All primary military targets have been neutralized. The aliens are in complete disarray. Back on Earth, General An Soo-jin watched the reports with satisfaction. Casualty report? Minimal on our side, reported Admiral Kim Do-hyun. We lost 3 fighters and suffered light damage to 2 destroyers. Enemy casualties are estimated at over 50,000, all military personnel. Civilian casualties? 0. Our forces followed their orders precisely. We hit only military and government targets. Director Park Sora joined them in the command center. The aliens are requesting immediate communication. They want to negotiate. What are our demands? Asked Dr. Choi Min-seok. Simple, Park replied. They will surrender everyone involved in the ambassador's assassination. They will provide full compensation for the attack, and they will publicly acknowledge that they committed an act of war against humanity. And if they refuse? General An smiled coldly. Phase 2 begins. We show them what a full human military assault looks like. The message went out across the galaxy, broadcast on every communication channel. Director Park Sora appeared on screens throughout alien space, her voice calm but her message clear. People of the galaxy, this is Earth's response to the murder of our ambassador. We came to you in peace, offering friendship and cooperation. You answered with poison and death. This ends now. Surrender those responsible or face the consequences. In the Hegemony Council chambers, the alien leaders realized their mistake. They had awakened something they didn't understand. Humanity wasn't just another species seeking trade and diplomacy. They were warriors who had chosen peace, but never forgotten how to fight, and now they were angry. The galaxy was about to learn why Earth's children had conquered their entire homeworld and reached for the stars. They had mistaken human kindness for weakness, human diplomacy for submission. It was a mistake they would never make again. Director Park Sora stood in the emergency meeting room deep beneath Earth's capital. Around the table sat the most powerful people in human space. Admiral Kim Do-hyun represented the military. General An Soo-jin controlled Earth's strategic forces. Dr. Choi Min-seok ran the weapons development programs. They had all received the same terrible news. The evidence is clear, Park Sora said, her voice steady despite her grief. Ambassador Lee Taemin was murdered. The Vorthak used a neural poison disguised as traditional food. The Kalani provided intelligence about human biology to make it work. General An Soo-jin studied the data on her tablet. This was planned for months. They have been preparing to eliminate our diplomatic presence since we first requested to join the galactic community. What's the official galactic response? Asked Admiral Kim. They call it a tragic accident, Park replied with bitter anger. The Hegemony Council offers their deepest sympathies and suggests we should be more careful about alien foods in the future. Dr. Choi Min-seok slammed his hand on the table. They mock us. They think we're some primitive species that will accept this insult and crawl away. Perhaps we should show them how wrong they are, General An said quietly. All eyes turned to her. She was known for her calm thinking and brilliant strategies. I recommend we implement Protocol Ragnarok. The room fell silent. Protocol Ragnarok was Earth's most secret military plan. It had been developed years ago, when humanity first realized they might face hostile alien forces. Only a few people knew it existed. Explain, Park Sora said. General An activated the holographic display. Protocol Ragnarok assumes that humanity will be underestimated by alien forces. They see us as newcomers, barely advanced enough to travel between stars. They don't know what we're really capable of. The display showed star maps with human colonies and military positions. For the past 5 years, we have been secretly building a military network. Our colony ships don't just carry settlers. They carry weapons, soldiers, and manufacturing equipment. Every human world can produce military hardware within days. Admiral Kim leaned forward. You're talking about a coordinated military response across dozens of star systems. Exactly. The aliens think our military consists of a few patrol ships and defensive platforms around Earth. They don't know about our hidden fleets, our advanced weapons, or our true industrial capacity. Dr. Choi smiled grimly. They also don't know about our latest weapons development. The projects have been kept secret even from most government officials. Tell us, Park said. Dr. Choi stood and walked to another display. We have developed weapons based on purely human physics and engineering. The aliens use energy weapons, lasers, plasma, particle beams. Their defenses are designed to stop those attacks. Images appeared showing sleek missiles and strange-looking cannons. We focused on kinetic weapons. Solid projectiles accelerated to incredible speeds. No alien shield technology can stop a tungsten rod moving at half the speed of light. What about space superiority? General An asked. Our ships are built differently too, Dr. Choi continued. Alien vessels are large and impressive, designed to show power and status. Our ships are built for war. Smaller, faster, harder to detect. We sacrifice comfort for combat effectiveness. Park Sora processed this information. How long would it take to implement Protocol Ragnarok? 3 days, General An replied. Our forces are already in position. They just need the activation codes. Meanwhile, in the galactic capital, the alien leaders celebrated their success. Commander Zathis met with High Counselor Vector of the Kalani Syndicate in a private chamber. Both were pleased with how easily they had eliminated the human threat. The humans have gone quiet, Vector said, his snake-like body coiled in satisfaction. No angry messages, no demands for justice. They know their place now. As it should be, Zethus replied. Newer species must learn respect for their betters. The galaxy has an order and humans were trying to disrupt it. Their technology was advancing too quickly, Vector agreed. In a few decades, they might have challenged our dominance. Better to stop them now. The Hegemony Council was wise to approve our plan. One dead ambassador saves us from a future war. They had no idea that human intelligence operatives were recording their conversation. Captain Han Wubin and his team had been on the station for weeks, posing as maintenance workers. Their advanced surveillance equipment captured every word. Back on Earth, the evidence continued to pile up. Commander Baek Young-mi ran Earth's Cyber Warfare Division. Her teams had hacked into alien communication networks months ago. They had recorded dozens of messages between Vorthak and Kalani officials planning the assassination. They're not even trying to hide it anymore, she reported to the Emergency Council. They think we're too primitive to intercept their communications. They're discussing how to divide up human colonies among themselves. They plan to kill our ambassador and then invade our territory? Park asked in disbelief. It appears so. They see us as resources to be harvested, not people to be respected. Dr. Yoon Ji-ho, who had been Taiman's closest friend, spoke for the first time. He died believing in peace. He thought we could find a better way to exist among the stars. We can, Park replied. But sometimes peace must be enforced by strength. The aliens understand only power and fear. We tried friendship and they answered with murder. General An stood up. I need authorization to proceed with Protocol Ragnarok. Every hour we wait gives them more time to prepare for human retaliation. Park Sora looked around the room at humanity's leaders. They had tried to join the galactic community as equals. They had offered their best diplomat, their friendship, and their technology. The aliens had responded by killing their ambassador and planning to enslave their colonies. Authorization granted, she said. Show them what humanity is really capable of. Across human space, secret messages began transmitting. Colony administrators opened sealed orders that had waited years for activation. Military commanders received codes that unlocked hidden weapon systems. Sleeper agents throughout alien space prepared for coordinated action. Captain Jung Hyun-woo commanded the stealth destroyer Soul's Vengeance. His ship had been hiding in an asteroid field near Vorthak space for 2 months. He received his orders with grim satisfaction. Lieutenant Kang Soo-jin led a fighter squadron stationed on a remote human colony. Her pilots had trained for years in secret, learning tactics designed specifically for fighting alien vessels. They were ready. Colonel Ryu Dong-min commanded special forces scattered across a dozen worlds. His soldiers were the best humanity could produce, trained for operations the aliens couldn't imagine. The storm was gathering. Earth's children prepared to show the galaxy why their species had survived and thrived on a world that had tried to kill them for millions of years. The aliens had made one crucial mistake. They thought humans were weak because they sought peace. They were about to learn the difference between choosing peace and being capable of war. Humanity had chosen peace, but they had never forgotten how to fight. The countdown to humanity's response had begun. Ambassador Lee Taemin walked through the gleaming corridors of Harmony Point Station. The massive space station floated in neutral space, serving as a meeting place for all the different alien races in the galaxy. Today was supposed to be a good day. Today he would sign the first major trade agreement between Earth and the galactic community. Taemin had spent 20 years preparing for this moment. He started as a soldier, fighting in Earth's last wars before humans reached the stars. Then he became a diplomat, learning about alien cultures and languages. He was the best choice to represent humanity among the stars. The station buzzed with activity. Tall, blue-skinned Vorthak walked past with their proud heads held high. The snake-like Kalani slithered through special passages built for their long bodies. Other strange creatures from distant worlds moved about their business. All of them looked at Taemin with curious eyes. Humans were still new to this galactic community. "Ambassador Lee," called a voice behind him. Taemin turned to see Vorthak Commander Zethus approaching. The alien's forearms moved in what humans had learned was a greeting gesture, but something felt wrong. Zethus usually smiled when he saw Taemin. Today his face showed no emotion. "Commander," Taemin replied with a slight bow. "Are you ready for tonight's ceremony?" "Of course," Zethus said. His voice sounded different, colder than usual. "The Hegemony Council is very interested in your proposal." Taemin nodded and continued walking. He had dealt with alien politics long enough to sense trouble. The Hegemony Council controlled most of the galaxy. They were old races who had been in space for thousands of years. Many of them did not like how quickly humans had advanced. In his quarters, Taemin sent a message to Earth. Director Park Sora appeared on his screen. She was his old friend and the head of Earth's diplomatic corps. Her kind face always made him feel better. "How are the preparations going?" she asked. "Something feels wrong," Taemin said. "The aliens are acting strange. Zethus barely spoke to me. Usually he talks for hours about Vorthak military history." Park Sora frowned. "Our intelligence reports show some concern among the elder races. They worry about human technology advancing too fast. But they agreed to these talks. Maybe they agreed for the wrong reasons," Taemin said. "Be careful, old friend, but remember why you're there. This trade agreement will bring peace and prosperity to both sides." Hours later, Taemin dressed in his formal diplomatic uniform. The dark blue fabric bore Earth's symbol, a simple globe surrounded by stars. He checked his communication device one more time, then headed to the main dining hall. The hall was magnificent. A huge window showed the stars beyond, and floating lights created a warm atmosphere. Representatives from 12 different species sat around a massive circular table. Taemin took his place between the Kalani delegate and a representative from the peaceful Narathi people. The dinner began with traditional foods from different worlds. Taemin ate carefully, knowing that some alien foods could make humans sick. The conversation flowed in the universal translator language that all species used for formal events. "Tell us about Earth's military capabilities," asked the Kalani delegate, her snake-like head swaying as she spoke. "We prefer to talk about peaceful applications of our technology," Taemin replied. "Earth's fusion reactors could power entire systems. Our medical advances could help many species." "But surely you have weapons," pressed Commander Zethus from across the table. "All spacefaring races do." Taemin felt the attention of everyone at the table. This was a test. Earth has defensive capabilities like any world. But we came here seeking trade and friendship, not to threaten anyone. The Vorthak commander's eyes grew cold. "How interesting. Humans always claim to be peaceful, yet your species conquered your entire planet through warfare." "We learned from our mistakes," Taemin said calmly. "That's why we seek a different path among the stars." The conversation continued, but Taemin noticed the other delegates becoming more aggressive in their questions. They asked about Earth's population, industrial capacity, and military technology. Each question felt like a probe, searching for weaknesses. As the evening progressed, Taemin excused himself to use the restroom. In the corridor, he activated his personal communicator and sent a coded message to Earth. "Hostile questions. Suspect coordinated effort. Proceeding with caution." When he returned to the table, dessert was being served. The Vorthak had prepared a special dish, crystallized fruits that glowed with soft light. It was considered a great honor to be offered such food. "Please, Ambassador," said Commander Zethus, offering Taemin a particularly bright crystal. "Try this. It's from my homeworld's royal gardens." Taemin accepted the crystal and placed it in his mouth. It tasted sweet, with a slight electric tingle. But within seconds, he felt something wrong. His vision blurred and pain shot through his chest. "What?" he gasped, trying to stand. The other delegates looked shocked and concerned, but Commander Zethus remained calm. Taman collapsed to the floor, his body convulsing. Through the pain, he managed to activate his communicator one last time. With his dying breath, he whispered into the device, "They fear us." They should. The station's medical team arrived quickly, but it was too late. Ambassador Lee Taman, Earth's first representative to the galactic community, was dead. The official report would say he suffered an allergic reaction to alien food. A tragic accident, they would claim. But in the depths of space, hidden sensors had recorded everything. Earth's intelligence network had been watching and listening. They caught the subtle signal Commander Zethus sent just before offering the poisoned crystal. They recorded the satisfied look on his face as Taman died. The message reached Earth 12 hours later. Director Park Sora read the intelligence report with growing anger. Admiral Kim Do-hyun stood beside her, his military mind already calculating responses. Dr. Yoon Ji-ho, who had been Taman's closest friend, wept quietly in the corner. "It was murder," Admiral Kim said. "They killed him because they feared what humanity might become." "The report makes it clear," Park Sora agreed. "The Vorthak and Kalani worked together. They wanted to send a message, 'Stay in your place, humans.' What do we do?" Dr. Yoon asked through her tears. Park Sora looked out at the stars where her friend had died. "We show them that they were right to fear us, but they should have feared us much, much more." The war wheels of Earth began to turn.